Hello there. I'm Timothy St. John McIntosh Pendergrass, Jingleheimer Schmidt St. Hubbins, the seventh.
The effects have been concentrated on the groups that the do-gooders would most like to help. The people who have been hurt most by minimum wage laws are the blacks. I have often said that the most anti-Negro law on the books of this land is the minimum wage rate. And so I think the real answer to your question is that you must not judge a bottle solely by its label. You have to look at what's inside and see what the law or the measure produces. If one looked...
Alright, y'all, this is how to study.
Stop.
Alright, y'all, how to study. So how do you study?
I use flashcards and dry erase boards are good. And just constantly writing, like writing, whatever. Oh, Nisha, yes. How's studying going?
Doing well.
That's good, yeah.
Doing well.
So, let me just come over here.
Did you write? Why you writing?
Because, stop. Whatever out. That's how I learn.
So what about like for a test that's coming up?
If I have a test coming up, I have to either, would you say focus? See, that's how you can tell somebody who's probably doing bad on their test, because you can't stay focused on the task at hand. Stop. Stop.
Alright, how I study? I don't. Thing is, smoke, drink, fuck. And then fuck, smoke, drink.
It's cold.
She cold right now because they got the air on.
No, she's not the fan on. I had to turn it off.
Fan's not on.
I turned it off.
Okay.
So, seriously, how do you study? Because I know you be over there in the little corner studying. You always be at the library. So, how do you study? Seriously.
I'll study. I'll just use like time management. I think time management is key, especially when you got like 5 or 6 classes, time management. So if I'm coming up to a test, I'll use the 3 days coming up to it and really go intensive with my notes. So the formula that I'm using for my physics test, which is Friday, it's chapter 0, 1, 2, really just looking at the book and my own notes and trying to play memory games with myself. As far as Spanish is real tough this semester, but I'm trying to score points everywhere else, and hopefully I can pass 2 or 3 of the tests, and I should be able to get out of Spanish. I have CPR classes, health, Ed 334, and we got a quiz coming up, and I just look forward to just continue to go over my study guide material. So that's what I do. Like I just, whatever test is coming up, I spend a lot of time working on that material.
Joining us now is Ari Fleischer, who's an unpaid occasional communications advisor of the Romney campaign, also Democratic strategist in the Romney 2012 pollster.
And what have you? So
Ari, the governor said last night that the
that's really what I'm doing. I'm going to study my stuff. So read the chapters, the handouts, back to my notes, back to the book, and try to read that. You know, if it's chapters 1, 2, 3, I'll read that for a day. Then I'll go to my notes for a day, or X, Y, and Z. And right before the test, I'll just like scan my notes like hardcore and really just keep looking over everything.
Also, another thing is visual aids, using pictures and different colors. So when I'm in class and I'm taking notes, Chris, What you want for dinner tonight? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Chris, are you recording? Hello? I have the little color pens and stuff because that's the best way for me to, like, I just can't have everything black and white. That's boring. I'm not going to be able to stay focused. So, yeah. Anything else to include?
Include how to study.
So how long do you usually study for at one time? Is it just like study for 30 minutes and then you're done, or what?
I usually study until like somebody call my phone and say like, yo, we finna do something, and I'll be like, yo, I'm finna stop studying. So something like that. I think school easy, so I don't know. I mean, some tests, some stuff you ain't gotta study for. Some stuff you can wing it. Like true and false stuff, you know, true and false. If the question is real long, it's probably true.
No, that's not true. Most of the time in true and false, it's usually one little word or something that's different that would make it false or that would make it whatever. So, you about to make me false. Stop. We're trying to do this video so we can help them with their studying skills. Stop. Stop.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what you said?
they know what I said.
What she said? They don't know what you said.
Ooh! 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 Why you keep on doing that? Oh my God.
You video record her?
Yes. What? Okay. What else? I usually study I like to break it up. I'm a procrastinator, so I don't like to study if I know I have like a whole month in advance. I'm never gonna study that early. I like to study a week before. Like today is what, Tuesday? I have a test on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I started studying yesterday. That's the best way to do it for me. Maybe not for you, but for me.
I don't know. What else? How to study. I think how to study, you just need to have everything lined up. Feel me? And then you can study. That way your mind won't be on everything that's not lined up while you trying to study.
And don't be afraid to use different different ways of studying. Don't just always use the same way, because you never know, like another way that you didn't know might work better for you, whatever. So why you always do this? Don't be afraid to change it up.
Yeah. And what else? Why is that van outside in the grass?
Is that my van?
I don't know, it's just a van in front of somebody's apartment.
Okay, that's not my van, so I don't know. That's the nastiest cereal ever.
Do these look soggy enough for you?
They look very soggy, and that looks... Don't get no milk on my carpet.
Anyway, like I said, so before you trying to study, you need to smoke.
He's eating fruit pebbles, and that is just...
Smoke, a lot of sex, food, Pepsi, and then call your mama. See what she doing. That way when you studying, you ain't like, damn, I need to smoke, damn, I need a Pepsi, damn, I want some booty, and all of that shit. You just work.
Also, if you keep a positive attitude, even if you didn't get a chance to study like how you really wanted to, if you keep a positive attitude, you're gonna do good test, exam, whatever. It's like keep a positive attitude. Even if you didn't study at all, you probably only got, I don't know, whatever. But if you keep a positive attitude, you probably are gonna do better than if you had a negative attitude and you're like, oh, I'm only gonna. He's making me mix up my words, so I don't even know what I'm talking about no more. Stop.
Programs that are labeled as being for the poor, for the needy, almost always have effects exactly the opposite of those which their well-intentioned sponsors intend them to have.
As an example, what are you referring to?
Let me give you a very simple example. Take the minimum wage law. It's well-meaning sponsors. There are always, in these cases, two groups of sponsors. There are the well-meaning sponsors, and there are the special interests who are using the well-meaning sponsors as front men. You almost always, when you have bad programs, have an unholy coalition of the do-gooders on the one hand and the special interests on the other. The minimum wage law is as clear a case as you could want. The special interests are, of course, the trade unions, the monopolistic craft trade unions in particular. The do-gooders believe that by passing a law saying that nobody shall get less than $2 an hour or $2.50 an hour or whatever the minimum wage is, you are helping poor people who need the money. You are doing nothing of the kind. What you are doing is to assure that people whose skills are not sufficient to justify that kind of a wage will be unemployed. It is no accident that the teenage unemployment rate, the unemployment rate among teenagers in this country, is over twice as high as the overall unemployment rate. It's no accident that that was not always the case until the 1950s, when the minimum wage rate was raised very drastically, very quickly. Teenage unemployment was higher than ordinary unemployment because, of course, the teenagers are the ones who are just coming into the labor market. They're searching and finding jobs, and it's understandable that on the average they would have be unemployed more. But it was nothing like the extraordinary level it has now reached. It's close to 20%. Why? Because the minimum wage law is most properly described as a law saying employers must discriminate against people who have low skills. That's what the law says. The law says here's a man who has a skill which would justify a wage rate of $1.50, $2 an hour. You may not employ him. It's illegal because you have to. If you employ him, you have to pay him $2.50. Well, what's the result? To employ him at $2.50.